There's a new dinosaur horror game coming, and it looks terrifying. Welcome home, residents. It's your Mayor Alistair back once again with some fresh hot atomic news for you. You know how there always seems to be dinosaur horror games that are announced and you never hear about them again? I know there's a few I'm still really hoping see the light of day, like Goner, Deathground, The Lost Wild, and personally my most anticipated, Compound Fracture, a PS1-styled first-person survival horror which just looks so cool. It feels like we've been waiting an eternity for these kinds of games. Well, there is a light at the end of the tunnel, because a brand new dinosaur horror has been announced, and it's a true spiritual successor to the beloved Dino Crisis series. And it looks super creepy. And the difference from this to those other games is that this actually has a release date. Now this comes from TeamKill Media, the same devs that made Quantum Error, which came out at the height of the Dead Space nostalgia, so it kind of taps into that similar kind of vibe. The game doesn't exactly have the best reputation, but it's worth remembering that this isn't a AAA studio. It's a relatively small team working with a significantly lower budget than most games of this scale. I think it's actually around 4 people working on these, which is insane. So take that into consideration before judging it the same as you would GTA or Spider-Man. That said, I do have some issues with this new game that I hope I'll fix before release. Code Violet is designed for the fans of Dino Crisis that have been waiting over 20 years for the next entry that never came. This reveal seemingly came out of nowhere, with the studio just dropping the trailer and straight up calling it a spiritual successor to Capcom's iconic series. But what is Code Violet? Well, the synopsis goes as such. In the 25th century, it's said that mankind narrowly survived a cataclysm that left Earth uninhabitable and in ruins. What was left of the human race looked to the stars for a new world, TRAPPIST-1E, where they would rebuild and start again. However, those who had survived the cataclysm were sterile and could not produce children, and without a solution, mankind would go extinct. Earth's last survivors, a colony known as Ion, decide they will use their technology to jump to different periods of time, extract women, and bring them back to their base on TRAPPIST-1E to be surrogates and prevent mankind's extinction. However, what seems like good intentions hides dark truths, and when Violet Sinclair is plucked from her time and relocated to TRAPPIST-1E, she finds herself in a conflict of conspiracy and survival as the true intentions of Ion reveal themselves. Code Violet is a third-person action horror game where you take on the role of Violet Sinclair, a girl plucked from her past who must unravel the mysteries of the Ion bioengineering complex, as she avoids, hides, or fights against the creatures who have overrun it. With the evacuation protocol in effect, Violet's main goal is to escape the complex and save those she cares for. But with the creatures and mysterious director doing all in their power to stop you, will you get out alive? Now, let's talk about what I like about this. The tone of this whole thing is super creepy. It has a nursery rhyme playing in the background of the trailer,
When the wind blows, the cradle will rock.
which is either the sound of someone comforting their child as they're being hunted by a dinosaur, or a mother who has just found her baby that has been mauled to death by a raptor, which sounds like something straight out of the Jurassic Park novels. It's been a while since I've seen dinosaurs actually be scary, and this could finally give us something brutally terrifying. The visuals of the actual dinosaurs here look great as well. They're all shrouded in shadow and treated like an actual threat. None of that "people are bored of dinosaurs" nonsense. If I see that thing, I'm running as fast as I can. It also looks like there's going to be some mutants of some kind, which I really like the look of. It's giving serious alien vibes with this, so hopefully that's a sign that it's gonna be scary. And some might see this as a bad thing, but I actually quite like the heavy PS1 vibes with this thing. The lighting and acting and characters all seem like they're straight out of some lost PS1 game that has just been resurfaced and upscaled for modern consoles. Everything has that kind of uncanny, awkward tone, which I'm not sure is intentional, but it reminds me heavily of games like Silent Hill.
This town is full of monsters. How can you sit there and eat pizza?
Really gives the impression that this is the real Dino Crisis 3, before Capcom went completely off the chain with whatever they released. And in some shots we can actually see that the ship has some classical interior design, like this hanging chandelier we see in this promotional photo, which makes this almost like a science fiction version of the Resident Evil mansion, which actually sounds incredible. Also, this shot is clearly a reference to Jurassic Park, so it's clear we're dealing with some dino nerds here, so hopefully it means we're in good hands. Now let's talk about the bad, because I do have some complaints. The graphics do look pretty inconsistent, sometimes it looks really nice, and other scenes clearly need work. I'm not asking for a AAA quality experience, but there's just some things that need ironed out. Part of that includes the animation, because it really is bad. Because what's going on here? Her hand is just flying around the place and even clips through his neck. I hope there's plenty of mission variety too. I'm fine with it being set on this ship, but hopefully they can make sure each location has a different visual identity. According to the devs, it'll have both these grungy sci-fi interiors as well as lush jungles, so it sounds like we'll get plenty of variety. I hope they've taken some of the criticisms from their previous games and applied it here as well, and have improved the combat experience, because that's one of the biggest flaws with Quantum Error according to critics. The story itself also sounds kinda strange. Taking women from different periods of time in order to breed them is definitely an odd plot for a dinosaur horror game. They say there's a dark secret beneath the surface, but that already sounds pretty dystopian. Though femininity has always been a part of the Jurassic series, with all the dinosaurs being female, and of course Ellie's comments about women inheriting the Earth. So I'm looking forward to being proven wrong here. Now, it was announced to be coming to PS5, but people were soon asking whether there would be a PC port, and TeamKill actually provided an explanation as to why there won't be one, and I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of funny. For those asking us about a PC version of Code Violet, the reason we're not bringing it to PC is we do not want anyone modding vulgar versions of the main character, as well as other characters in the game. We hold our voice actresses and actors with high regard, as well as our artistic vision for the game and story, and reject any form of destroying that with sexual mods. It's unfortunate that PC gamers won't be able to play this, at least at launch, but it's a real issue that happens across games. Pretty much anything with a female lead will soon have a clothing removal mod, and if they're basing their character off real people, which it sounds like they are, then that raises a whole lot of ethical and legal problems. So I do understand, but it's still kind of funny, but it's a shame that this happens all the time. It's safe to say that I'm cautiously optimistic about this game. It's a really good idea and has tons of potential. It's exactly what fans of dinosaurs and horror have been needing. But there's a few issues that need to be ironed out before release, mainly on the animation side of things, because right now they're taking me out of the experience. One thing I hope they do is add in a first-person mode, because that's the one thing that they could do to make this even more scary. We also have a release date, that being July 2025, which means they're trying to release this thing at the height of the Jurassic World Rebirth hype, which is very clever. Clever girl, TeamKill.
Clever girl.
For more on Code Violet, including gameplay, which has been confirmed to be coming soon, subscribe and chop the notification button to become a resident of DangerVille today. I've been Alistair, and we'll see you residents in the next one.